And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you. Aquaba, welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. My name is Kidi Owadu, aka the Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time, that's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. BST, and 5 p.m. GMT, and that's 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Wednesday. This is the 29th day of October, 2025 in the Gregorian Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6266 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. That's 7 p.m. East Africa time. Does the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, does this group deliberately allow known carcinogens in the food supply? That's what's on the table for today, and the answer is shocking. It's really, really shocking. This is not just Trump. This has been going on for many years. Foods or chemicals masquerading as foods, as my friend Suzar put it in her very important book. Chemicals masquerading as foods are in the food supply. And the U.S. government, the Food and Drug Administration, knows that it's a problem. It knows that other nations have banned these substances. And so you and I are kind of left in a dilemma. What do we do with what they do, with what we know, what they know, we know that they know about what is so wrong with the food supply? Now, I'll be honest with you. I do not cuss. I'm a Kemetian priest. I do not cuss. I've been watching TV a little bit recently, a little bit more than I should, I will admit. And I hear everyone cussing, but I'm not going to submit. I'm going to be the last holdout. Because I do believe we can go through this life with grace and dignity, self-esteem, and we can draw boundaries about our behavior. So I do not cuss, but boy, sometimes because their behaviors of Urugu, the incomplete being, are unacceptable. Absolutely, undeniably unacceptable. And we're going to have to come up with plans, consistent plans across the board to neutralize their ability to control our lives. I have an introduction. Let me introduce today's program. Today on libradio.com, we look deeper into this, quote, pandemic, unquote, of cancer that is plaguing the nation. Despite regulations banning cancer-causing additives, the Food and Drug Administration still permits certain known carcinogens in the food due to regulatory loopholes and industry influence. Chemicals like benzene, BHA, and carbadox linked to cancers of the liver, kidney, and blood persist in items from coffee to pork, artificial sweeteners, etc., linked to cancers of the liver, kidney, and blood, with cancer rates soaring, far worse than COVID pandemic, with cancer rates soaring. This inaction on the part of the FDA raises urgent concerns about public health, about corporate accountability, and the need for transparent, science-driven reform in our food supply. So, in the interim, you tune into this station. You tune into myself, to Gary, Dr. Gary Null. There's a whole lot of places, Dr. Mercola, whole lot of places, Dr. Eric Berg, a whole lot of places where you can tune in and hear the real deal. We do our research. Today, why does the FDA allow known carcinogens in the food supply? I've got a short piece of video that I want to put up on the stage to begin our conversation today. I hope you don't mind. I hope you do mind. I hope you get very much concerned. Sorry, it was a gnat. I didn't want that gnat flying around. I hope you get very, very concerned about what is happening. This short video, just about a minute or so long, talks about the problem.
Big changes are coming to your favorite treats. After nearly 35 years, the FDA has banned Red 3, a dye once popular for its vibrant hue but linked to cancer risks in lab studies. Red 3, also known as FD and C Red number 3 or erythrocene, was banned from cosmetics decades ago. Only now are U.S. regulators taking it off the menu for foods, dietary supplements, and oral medicines. The evidence shows cancer in lab rats exposed to high levels of Red 3, says Jim Jones of the FDA. Although these risks don't translate directly to humans, the FDA is acting under the Delaney Clause, a law requiring a ban on any additive found to cause cancer in animals. Consumer advocates have long fought for this move, arguing it's critical to protect children who consume more of this dye relative to their body weight. In fact, a 2022 petition growing support in Congress helped push this decision forward. The European Union, Australia, and New Zealand already have similar bans in place. Food manufacturers unfortunately have until 2027 to fully phase out Red 3. Many are thankfully already turning to safer, natural alternatives such as beet juice and purple sweet potato. This long-awaited step ensures safer choices for everyone. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about protecting public health. Big changes are coming to your favorite treats. After nearly 35 years, the FDA has banned Red 3.
Finally, after years, after decades, the FDA has finally slapped a ban on this subject. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Double checking right now. I get a message. I see 4 Africa One is in the house. Hotep, Brother Kitty, Global LV family. And I put up my message. She asked the question, why start time is now 4 p.m. GMT. Oh, okay. You must have changed your time now. So you came out of the British or the summer savings, daylight savings time. Thanks for that notice. Now, this weekend, the 2nd of November, United States will switch back, so we will catch up with you. So thank you for that note. So for this week, I'll have to just adjust and make a correction. And I do appreciate that. We are going forward. I do see Basu Nefert Ra Sechat is in the house, Ujah Babakiti, and LIB Worldwide. What a joy it is to be with you all today. My sisters checking in. I've got a lot of detailed research on the table, so let's get right into it. The first thing that alerted me to this, I got a note in my email this week from one of the researchers. I sign up to at least a dozen different health related newsletters, And one of them, I can't remember which one, but it was a good one, put out an alert about Carbadox. Carbadox. Carbadox is primarily used as an animal drug in swine to promote growth and to control diseases such as swine dysentery and bacterial swine enteritis. It is also used to control infections caused by specific bacteria and parasites in pigs. However, Carbadox is known to be carcinogenic and genotoxic, meaning toxic to the genes, in animal studies. Due to its carcinogenic potential, Carbadox is banned or prohibited in several regions, including Europe, Canada, and Australia. The United States FDA has raised concerns about its safety, particularly because Carbadox may leave carcinogenic residues in pork products, which could pose a cancer risk to consumers. Despite this, it remains approved for use in the U.S. with certain restrictions, although regulatory actions to withdraw its approval have been proposed and are underway as of late 2023. The uses of Carbadox. Point 1, it's used in swine feed to promote growth and improve feed efficiency. The swine eats Carbadox. You eat the swine. Point 2, controls swine dysentery caused by Serpolina hyodoenteris. That's not right. Hyodysenteris. Hyodysenteris. That's close enough. Enteray. Point 3, controls bacterial enteritis. That's an infection of the gut tract, including salmonella infections. Point 4, helps prevent parasite infections like large roundworm and nodular worm in pigs. Now, you might say, well, it's good that it's there. I have more of a danger or more of a fear of consuming these parasites than the poison. Man, you're done for. If that's what you think, if that's the way you're thinking that this is a good trade-off for eating swine, Malcolm X would be very unproud of you. Carcinogenicity and regulatory status. Carbadox is a carcinogenic and genotoxic in animal tests. It is banned in the European Union, Canada, and Australia due to cancer risk concerns. The FDA has proposed withdrawing approval for safety concerns related to carcinogenic residues in pork, particularly in liver products. Point, still used in the United States with restrictions such as a 42-day withdrawal period before slaughter. Now, 42 days is not going to get out of the liver. No, it don't work like that. Point number 5, the FDA has revoked the regulatory method for monitoring residues. The FDA has canceled under Trump the regulatory method for monitoring residues, which threatens its continued approval in the United States. This summary is based on recent regulatory updates and scientific findings noted by the Food and Drug Administration and other health authorities. Let's go deeper into the topic today. That was Carbadox, Carbadox. I know Basu Randa and For Africa One, neither of you eat swine. And I'm not even going to make a joke about you are what you eat. It's not funny. It's just not funny. Ha ha ha. Going forward, categories of known carcinogens in the food supply. The FDA has established guidelines and regulations regarding substances that may be present in the food supply, including known carcinogens. While the FDA does not allow carcinogens that pose a significant risk, nod nod, wink wink, in food supplies, some substances classified as potentially carcinogenic are still permitted under controlled conditions. Now, I will say these substances are classified as potentially, quote, carcinogenic. In other countries, they are defined as carcinogens. We're going to see that conflict. So we have a system in this country that is inferior to standards in other countries. Categories of substances. First category, artificial food colorings and additives. Some food colorings, such as red number 3, have been associated with carcinogenic effects in animal studies. While banned in some products, others are still permitted in limited quantities. Limited quantities. Wow. Preservatives. Substances like BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, and BHA, butylated hydroxynosol, are considered potential carcinogens in high doses, but are used as antioxidants and preservatives within regulated limits. Food preservatives. That's why, for the most part, I do not eat processed foods. If it's in a box, if it's in a can, if it's in a glass jar, I have to read the label very carefully and decide whether or not it passes my intuitive test. Pesticide residues, the third category. Certain pesticides, such as organophosphates, are classified as potential carcinogens, but can be present in food if their residues remain within the established safety limits defined by the Environmental Protection Agency. Wow. And then, of course, who establishes those safety limits? Most of the time, it's the chemical manufacturers. I'm not making this stuff up. And the next category is processed meats. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, has classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, while the FDA does not. It does advise moderation due to their association with cancer risk. And let me be honest with you. Be honest with me. How many commercials advertising bacon do you see on a daily basis? Bacon cheeseburger, bacon, 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 bacon in the TV shows. It's bad. I do welcome your comments today. What do you think? You think I am over hyping? I'm a little too concerned about something that may not affect me? Now, I don't eat any of those things. So this warning is not for me. Well, wait a minute. Don't say that, Kitty, because you got to keep going down this list. These pesticide residues are on the broccoli. They are on spinach and other substances. So this warning goes out to all of us. All of us. All of us. Basu Randa, I welcome you in the house. Love to hear more from our listening audience. I love hearing from you. Just nothing else Just you say hello. I'm here. I do matter. Because you do matter. You do matter. LIB Radio family, I see 4 people have clicked the like button in the YouTube family. It's a very, very small number. Back in the day, we used to have many, many more listeners simultaneously than we have now. But we're doing the best we can with what we've got, hoping to have the money to be able to buy the cooperation of others to help me put this out here. That is the thought. I'm going to put this thought out. We're going to raise enough money so that I can hire some people to help with the promotion, with the production. We should have gotten into a studio about 3 years ago, but that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic. And let's keep going. We've got a lot of research on the table. The last one we did, processed meats, regulatory framework. The Delaney Clause. This section of Food Additives Amendment prohibits the approval of any food additive that is shown to induce cancer in humans or animals. However, it does have limitations and exceptions that allow for certain controlled carcinogens. Why even have it? Why even have it if you're going to put limitations and exceptions in it? The Delaney Clause. It sounds like a trap, doesn't it? For regulatory framework, the GRAS, G-R-A-S list, generally regarded as safe, G-R-A-S. Some substances may be deemed safe based on general consensus among experts. Now, who are these experts who contribute to the consensus? Despite having potential cancer risk under specific circumstances, the FDA continually reviews scientific research and may adjust regulations based on emerging data about carcinogenic risk. But didn't they recently cut off funding for the monitoring of these substances? This leads to an ongoing discussion about safety limits and acceptable risks associated with various substances in the food supply. But it's not just in the food supply. That's the most obvious place to look. That's the most obvious place to throw up barriers. What about for children, for babies? Why? And I'm asking a question I'm speaking to my audience so they know why. But why, when in 1900 in the United States, the risk of developing cancer in one's lifetime was just a little over 4%. 1 out of 24 people would be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. Why do we see by today, I'm not even going to put milestones in the way because the number is exponential. The curve is getting steeper as it continues. But why today do we see the risk of developing cancer is 40.5%? That was 4 months ago, 5 months ago when I last looked, when I was publishing the book. More than 4 months ago. The book came out 9 months ago. A year against cancer. So why was it over 40% then when it was only 4% a century earlier? It's because of these chemicals. People are living a little bit longer lifespan, and that aging is associated with higher rates of diagnosis of cancer, but that doesn't cover this huge, huge growth of cancer. When we ran the world, the scientific world, in ancient Kemet, according to the best research I have uncovered, the rate of cancer diagnosis in one's lifetime was only about 2 of every 400 to 800 people. 2. It would be a 0.25%. Now it's gone crazy. Isn't carbadox a known carcinogen, and isn't it banned in other countries? I asked these questions in an ongoing dialogue with several AI search engines. I've been on Perplexity AI, Bravo AI, Copilot by Microsoft. I've been on DuckDuckGo AI and Ecosia. I'm using a whole bunch of these things. I'm in a conversation with like 5 supercomputers. It's crazy, but you get to be the beneficiary of me organizing this. Carbadox, Carbadox, as a known carcinogen. I asked the question, isn't carbadox such a known carcinogen, and isn't it banned? Yes. Now, I asked this question after asking AI a little bit earlier about carbadox, and it was ambiguous. So now the response is yes. Carbadox is classified as a known carcinogen, primarily due to evidence showing its potential to cause cancer in animal studies. No, not evidence showing its potential. Take the word out. The word potential is kind of hoping. That's like that hope. I don't do hope. We don't do hope. Keep hope alive. No, kill it. Let's know. Let's be certain about what our destiny is, as certain as our scientific mind can calculate, plan. The FDA and other health organizations have raised concerns about genotoxic effects, which can lead to DNA damage and mutations. Bans in other countries. Carbadox has indeed been banned in several countries for food safety reasons, including the European Union. The EU has prohibited the use of carbadox in food animals due to safety concerns regarding its carcinogenicity, which doesn't that mean that U.S. swine exports are banned to European Union? And Canada, similar to the EU, Canada has banned carbadox for veterinary use, especially in food-producing animals. These bans reflect the precautionary principles adopted by many countries to protect public health, especially concerning food products and animal welfare. Current status in the U.S. While the FDA has yet to formally ban carbadox in the U.S., there are ongoing reviews of its safety. The agency proposed to withdraw its approval due to the carcinogenic risk associated with its use in livestock. This discussion continues, underlying the difference in regulatory approaches to food safety across countries. The classification of substances like carbadox and their regulatory status often vary widely based on emerging research, public health considerations, and differing policy frameworks in various jurisdictions. Not currently classified by the FDA as carcinogens. Now, let's go to the topic of artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners are not currently classified as carcinogens. However, new research suggests that sucralose 6-acetate, a chemical found in artificial sweeteners, may cause DNA damage and harm gut health. When choosing sugar substitutes, stevia or monk fruit may be considered healthier options compared to artificial sweeteners. Well, I know little about monk fruit, but I do know that stevia is classified as a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not carcinogen. I'm thinking of, ooh, I can't think of it. There's a word, specific word. It's essentially an antagonist to the body because your body thinks it's getting sugar, but it's not. It's not getting sugar. And the word is right here on the tip of my tongue. The word is, I can't think of it. And it's a form of antagonism. Help me out, Batsu Randa. You are right on point to bring this to the public awareness, she says. And I see you in the house, Brother Eddie. Greetings, Brother Keaty. And it's a pleasure always, always to have you in the house. And the word I'm thinking of, it's like a stimulant to the brain, but it's a false stimulant. I'm not even in that space right now, so I'm trying to pull a word out of my memory. There's a word I have searched for previously, and I remember that I can't always remember this name. It's an antagonist or stimulant. I can't think of it. The word is very similar to that. Maybe you can think of it, and I'm not even going to waste your time. Why? The next article, I pulled up this article, and I'm going to give you some of the article, but I'm not going to give you all of it. But I will put up a link to the article. It's entitled, Why Are 4 Notorious Carcinogens Approved by FDA for Food? This article written by Leora Fixel. Leora Fixel, project manager of Healthy Communities, and Lisa Lefferts, environmental health consultant for the Environmental Defense Fund. Article published on February 1st, 2024. And I'm going to real quickly share this across social media. I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I'm going to put it up on my Facebook page. And I'm going to put it up on Rumble. And I'm going to put it up on YouTube as well. Bear with me. This is worth your time and my time. Only thing is I just got so many windows open. And I'm literally working on all the windows. Believe it or not, I close as many windows on my computer before going on the air, but I still end up with a bunch of them up. And put this up on YouTube as well. Link to the article. So you, please do confirm that I am telling the truth. Please, I beg of you, let's do this work together. That's the best way it's going to get done. So I have already voted on this content. Okay, so what we're doing right now, let me read from Why Are 4 Notorious Carcinogens Approved by the FDA for Food? This is from February 2024. On December 21, 2023, FDA filed a food additive petition and a color additive petition submitted by the EDF and partners that asked the FDA to revoke its approval for 4 carcinogenic chemicals approved for use in food. Now, this is the filing of a petition to close it. There is broad agreement that benzene trichloroethylene, TCE, methylene chloride, and ethylene dichloride are carcinogenic, and federal law is clear. Additives that cause cancer in humans or animals are not considered safe. That's a quote. Additives that cause cancer in humans or animals are not considered safe. All the chemicals have been identified as causing cancer in humans or animals since the 1970s and the 1980s. these four chemicals, benzene, trichloroethylene, methylene chloride, and ethylene dichloride, have been known to cause cancer in humans or animals since the 1970s and 1980s. That would put us 5 decades or, that they've known about these chemicals. 5 decades. Yet, your government agency, the FDA, still allows them in the food supply. Benzene, trichloroethylene, TCE, methylene chloride, and ethylene chloride are all recognized as carcinogenic or reasonably anticipated to be carcinogenic by major national and international health and environmental agencies. Benzene and TCE are classified as, quote, known to be human carcinogen, unquote, by the U.S. National Toxicology Program and the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC. And benzene is also classified as a, quote, known human carcinogen by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. TCE is classified as, quote, carcinogenic to humans, unquote, by the EPA, and, quote, carcinogenic to humans, quote, unquote, by the IARC. Methylene chloride is classified as, quote, likely to be carcinogenic to humans, unquote, by the Environmental Protection Agency, and, quote, probably carcinogenic to humans, unquote, by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Ethylene chloride is classified as a possible human carcinogen by the EPA and possibly carcinogenic to humans by the IARC. These chemicals have been linked to various forms of cancer. Benzene is known to cause leukemia and other blood cancers in humans. TCE is associated with kidney cancer, non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and liver cancer in humans. Methylene chloride is linked to cancer in humans and is considered a reasonably anticipated human carcinogen. Ethylene dichloride is also considered a, quote, reasonably anticipated, unquote, human carcinogen. The carcinogenicity of these chemicals has been recognized for decades. Benzene has been known to cause cancer in humans since at least 1980, TCE since 1976, ethylene dichloride since 1978, and methylene chloride since 1986. Despite this long-standing evidence, the FDA has not revoked its approval for their use in food, although the agency has acknowledged their cancer-causing potential. The Delaney Clause of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act mandates that any food additive found to induce cancer in humans or animals cannot be considered safe, which creates a legal basis for banning these chemicals, even though safer alternatives exist, such as using water to decaffeinate coffee. In 2023, the Environmental Protection Agency proposed banning all uses of TCE and most uses of methylene chloride due to their cancer risks. But these proposed bans do not extend to their use in food, which remains regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. This sounds criminal, doesn't it? Sure does. I do see Basu Rhonda in the house. She says, in a quick search, I found that stevia is known to be a potential endocrine disruptor. I thank you for teaching me that. That's a very good, important point. I'm going to copy that down, and later I'm going to do more research on that. And real quickly, I'm just going to copy this down and save. And let's continue our research from this document. And bear with me, where was I? Okay, this, and I have this word stuck in the back of my mind. And stevia is this word. And the word has to deal with ADHD, excitotoxin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is the word. Stevia and many other chemicals, FDA, red number 3, and many of these artificial sweeteners are excitotoxins. That's the word. Excitotoxins. Bear with me. I'm going to find this word. Excitotoxins. 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 Very important word. You may not recognize that word. Let me just share with you what is the impact of cytotoxins. Excitotoxins. What is the impact? Where am I at? I don't want to do that. I want to go here. What is the impact? What is the impact of, quote, excitotoxins on humans? And real quickly, it's going to give me, I just went to Copilot. I meant to go to Brave. In fact, let me search this in the slow, think deeper response on Copilot, while at the same time, give me the quick response on Brave. Now, where are we? Okay, I got that up on Copilot. And what is the impact of excitotoxins? Putting this up in Brave. Excitotoxins in the food. Excitotoxins are chemicals, either naturally occurring or added to food, that overstimulate nerve cells, neurons, by excessively activating glutamate receptors, leading to neuronal damage or death through a process known as excitotoxicity. Now, doesn't that sound like a chemical that should be banned from the food supply by a Food and Drug Administration? Real quickly, I'm going to just post this up in my article as well, because I do think that this is very consistent with what we are studying today. Real quickly, copy and paste it over here. Going forward, excitotoxins are chemicals either naturally occurring or added to food that overstimulate nerve cells, neurons, by excessively activating glutamate receptors, leading to neuronal damage or death through a process known as excitotoxicity. These substances, including monosodium glutamate, aspartame, and other compounds like hydrolyzed proteins, cysteine, and aspartic acid, which are commonly found in processed foods, diet sodas, and flavor enhancers. The overactivation of receptors, particularly NMDA and AMPA types, allow excessive calcium influx into cells, triggering destructive enzymes that damage cellular structures such as the cytoskeleton and DNA, potentially contributing to neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and multiple sclerosis. The immature nervous system and elderly individuals are especially vulnerable to excitotoxins, with evidence linking them to developmental issues, cognitive decline, seizures, and even fatal outcomes in cases of high dose exposure, such as with domoic acid poisoning from contaminated shellfish. Excitotoxins. Little did we think. Well, there's more. That was just what came back from Brave. I did a deeper research on this topic on Copilot. Real quickly, I'm going to go through this. Excitotoxins are substances that overstimulate excitatory neurotransmitter receptors in the nervous system, most often glutamate receptors, producing a cascade that can injure or kill neurons. How excitotoxins harm neurons, the mechanism: excessive activation of glutamate receptors NMDA and AMPA, increase intracellular calcium. High calcium loads impair mitochondria, raise reactive oxygen species, and trigger enzymes that damage membranes and DNA. And that's also a form of what's called calcification of our brain cells. That cascade is called excitotoxicity and is a well-established pathophysiologic process in many brain injuries and neurodegenerative conditions. The short-term and chronic risks: acute effects. High experimental exposure causes neuronal dysfunction and cell death in animal models and in laboratory systems. Point 2, in humans, acute dietary exposure to compounds sometimes labeled excitotoxins, for example, monosodium glutamate, have been anecdotally linked to transient symptoms such as headache, flushing, sweating, or sensations described as the, quote, MSG symptom complex, unquote. But controlled clinical evidence for widespread acute neurotoxic effects from normal dietary intake is limited. The chronic and long-term effects of excitotoxins. Point 1, excitotoxic mechanisms contribute to neuronal loss in stroke, traumatic brain injury, epilepsy, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and other neurodegenerative disorders. In these contexts, excitotoxicity is an important part of disease pathology. Point 2, evidence that routine dietary levels of food additives cause or accelerate human neurodegenerative disease is weak or inconclusive. Much of the strongest data come from animal or cellular models or from situations of very high exposure or impaired glutamate clearance. Next, groups at greater risk, vulnerable populations. Point 1, people with acute brain injury, stroke, head trauma, with chronic neurodegenerative disease, or with impaired mechanisms for clearing extracellular glutamate, may be more susceptible to harm from excitotoxic processes. Point 2, developing brains and immature blood-brain barriers can also be more vulnerable in experimental settings. Practical takeaways and risk reduction. Recommendations. Point 1, avoid extremely high or experimental exposures. Maintain a balanced diet and avoid excessive consumption of highly processed foods that are repeatedly flagged in popular sources as containing excitatory additives. And point 2, for people with neurologic disease or who are concerned Discuss diet and supplements with a clinician. Currently, regulatory agencies consider common additives like MSG safe for the general population when used at normal dietary levels. Sources for factual claims referenced above come from the following cited reviews and summaries, and there are a lot of them. A lot of them. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different references that are used there. So that was taken from Copilot. How excitotoxicity harms our neurons. Copy and paste this one. Not there. Copy and paste it here. Paste. It didn't do it. One more time. Copy and paste here. Why is it not doing what I am asking? Copy. One more time. Paste it. And it's just not doing it. Let me try copying bits of it. Copy and paste. Okay, I did get part of it. Let me try the next bit of it. Bear with me. This is, I hope you do agree that this is good research that we're on to today. And I did get it all in and saving that. Let's go back up to where was I before taking that deviation. And that was talking about carcinogenic topics. We're going to focus in on a form of the artificial sweeteners, a form of excitotoxin that's also considered to be carcinogenic. This article is entitled "A Chemical Found in Common Artificial Sweetener May Cause DNA Damage, Cancer," written by Caitlin Vogel. This is from July 17, 2023 from Medical News Today. And I'm going to copy this to my Facebook page. Don't do that. Copy to my Facebook page. My sound. And that one is on my Facebook page. And let me copy it one more time in today's live broadcast. So if you do want to continue to do this research, if you want to help me do the research, for whatever reason, whatever your motivation is, you are definitely going to be welcome. For Africa One, I see a question. Are any of these carcinogenic products exported to Africa and the global south? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Not just from America either. But we do know, yes, they are. They are. We just know that to be true. I'm going to copy. I'm copying this one, pushing it in the link for today, and I'm going to push it up one more time here on YouTube. And I see you in the house, Basuranda. Stevia intake, she writes, can cause elevated leptin levels along with C-peptide, interleukin 6 and interleukin 17, which are related with insulin and pro-inflammatory immune compounds. Very, very good. That's a very important note that you're putting in there. And I do appreciate, love that you are contributing to today's research. My morning tea, I loaded it up today. It's 2 green tea bags, which I know tea bags are out. We need to get the bulk teas. But that's what I had in the house. 2 green tea bags, wild desert honey, cinnamon, turmeric, black pepper, cayenne pepper, ginger powder, coconut oil, and peppermint extract, or peppermint oil. Mm, mm, mm. And it's got cardamom in it. I've just started adding cardamom to my morning tea. And I just started adding black pepper, which activates the turmeric. We did this yesterday. It was an awesome program we did yesterday. Hope you did see it. Going forward, a chemical found in common sweetener may cause DNA damage and cancer, by Caitlin Vogel, Medical News Today, July 2023. Researchers discovered the sucralose 6 acetate, a chemical found in artificial sweeteners, could lead to DNA damage and cause cancer. New research suggests that the chemical, I just mentioned that, new studies show that sucralose harms our gut health and may lead to oxidative stress, inflammation, and cancer. Now, I have never used sucralose. I don't think I've ever used it, unless maybe it could have been back in like the 70s. I may have, because I kind of have this image of me opening a little blue package and pouring it into a drink, but it didn't taste at all reasonable, and I never did it again. It was either the blue one or the pink one. So I'll be honest, but I never got into it. Some people do this 2, 3, 4 times daily. Point number 3, when choosing sugar substitutes, stevia or monk fruit may be considered healthier, maybe, or may not be, right? May be considered healthier options compared to artificial sweeteners. And my sister Basu Neferet Ra Seshat shared research that says stevia intake cause elevated leptin levels, along with C-peptide, IL-6 and IL-17, which are related with insulin and pro-inflammatory immune compounds, which means to me, stevia is another processed food. And our bodies were not intended to consume processed food. A recent study suggested that a chemical sucralose 6 acetate found in sucralose caused DNA damage. Researchers from North Carolina State University and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill claimed that sucralose 6 acetate is, quote, genotoxic, unquote, meaning it causes harm to genetic information within cells. And it's not only harmful to the genes, the DNA, because DNA is supposed to be encoded and not susceptible to being written, but it does cause harm to the RNA processes, or the methylation, the expression of those genes. 1 second, I've got to wipe my nose. And you don't want to hear me wiping my nose, so let me mute my mic. We'll be right back. I told you I'd be right back. I'm going to pull up another article that I read through today, and I do think this article needed to be included in our studies. Copy this article. This is entitled Artificial Sweetener and Cancer, 7 Things to Know. It is written by Cynthia DeMarco from the MD Anderson Cancer Center, July 2023. Now, I'm going to share this link in a couple of places. Bear with me while I push it around here. I'm going to push it up on my Facebook page under today's broadcast, and I'm going to push it up under the promotion for today. And let's share with you what this article shares with us. Here it is. I got it in all the places. Again, artificial sweeteners and cancer, 7 things to know. Point: artificial sweeteners have been on a lot of people's minds lately, especially since the World Health Organization, the WHO, International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, recently reclassified aspartame as a possible carcinogen or substance that causes cancer. Quote, listen, listen, listen. No compelling safety data suggests that any marketed non-sugar sweetener should be avoided in the amounts that are usually consumed, unquote. Ernest Hawk, MD, Vice President of Cancer Prevention and Population Sciences. How does the World Health Organization, IARC's reclassification of aspartame affect the average person? Not at all. It is essentially changed aspartame's status from we don't know if it causes cancer to it's possible that it might cause cancer. But more research is necessary. So essentially it's a variation of we don't know. Now, I'm not endorsing what Ernest Hawk is saying. I'm just sharing what he is saying because, I almost wanted to cuss. Because these mothers and fathers are the quote unquote experts that the FDA, the EPA, and others go to allow these manufacturers to continue to poison your food supply. Ernest Hawk, MD, Vice President of Cancer Prevention and Population Sciences. Should people stop using aspartame as a result of this announcement? No. Acceptable levels of intake for aspartame were up to 40 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day before the announcement, and those recommendations have not changed. Specifically, IARC's recommendations relate to aspartame intake limits that did not change as a result of this reclassification. So, what's the purpose of the reclassification announcement? It was meant primarily as a call to action for scientists, I think. Oh, man. There's a conversation that the article is having with this quote-unquote expert, and the person went out and sought this specific expert who was going to fill in the answers that they had already predetermined. I'm absolutely convinced of it. The WHO's reclassification from its lowest level of risk, group 3, not classifiable as to its carcinogenicity to humans, to its group 2B level, possibly carcinogenic to humans, indicates only that there is clear need for further high-quality research on non-sugar sweeteners and their possible long-term health implications. Are any artificial sweeteners currently classified as carcinogens? No. Saccharin was placed on the list of cancer-causing chemicals by the Department of Health and Human Services in the late 1970s or early 1980s. But it was the only one of the marketed non-sugar sweeteners, and that designation was based on flawed research, so the ruling was reversed by the year 2000. Saccharin. So that's the type of mother, father, that's the expert who's guiding the FDA and the EPA and all of these other organizations, including international agencies, the Health and Human Services. That's guiding them today. So when they put saccharin on the carcinogenic list in the late 70s or early 80s, then later reversed it, it wasn't until 2000 that it was reversed. And quite simply, well, let's look it up. Today, now we understand the FDA is approving these substances. But we're going to ask, what is the safety profile of, quote, saccharin? Question mark. What is the safety profile of saccharin? Let's find it. Related to carcinogenicity. That's the question. So that is the question. We're going to ask it again of Brave. Like I say, I have these conversations with a number of different search engines. So I'm going to ask it of Brave as well. In the background, where you is. I don't want to do that. Here we go. In the background, I'm going to ask the same one. Let's go first to Copilot. Nah, don't open that. Sorry about that. I can't open. Thank you. What I am going to open is Copilot. Let's read what it has to say. The question, what is the safety profile of saccharin related to carcinogenicity? Quote, saccharin is no longer considered a human carcinogen. While early studies raised concerns, extensive research and regulatory reviews have since affirmed its safety for human consumption. Historical concerns. In the 70s, high-dose studies in rats linked saccharin to bladder cancer, prompting warning labels on products containing it. They were later found to be species-specific and not applicable to humans. The bladder tumors occurred in male rats due to a mechanism not relevant to human physiology. Whoa! It did cause cancer, but not in humans, just in the lab rats. Regulatory reviews and reclassification. In 1987, the IARC classified saccharin as possibly carcinogenic to humans, group 2B, due to sufficient data, evidence in animals, but inadequate evidence in humans. By 1997, U.S. National Toxicology Program reviewed newer data and removed saccharin from its report on carcinogens, citing lack of credible evidence of human cancer risk. Major health organizations, including the American Cancer Society and American Medical Association, have since supported saccharin's safety. Current safety status, saccharin is approved for use by regulatory bodies such as the FDA, EFSA, and World Health Organization with established acceptable daily intake levels. It is widely used in diet sodas, sugar-free gum, and baked goods, but no current requirement for cancer warning labels. It is widely used in diet sodas, sugar-free gum, and baked goods. It is widely used. Now, let's have a comment from the Center for Science in the Public Industry. These are your friends. Let me share with you what your friends have to say about this. I'm going to share this up on YouTube. Bear with me, that last link was kind of long and it wouldn't fit on one line, but you can grab them and piece them back together. Please do. I'm going to share this. And yeah, she said the last two links are not showing up. If you can, rather than go back and get all of these and piece these back together, because can you go to my Facebook page? It's more convenient for me because I am running a little bit over time. And if you don't want to go to my Facebook page, just send me an email and I will send you my notes and you can have today's conversation for your own benefit. I said those last two links were not showing up. I know they was because they were too long to fit. And I suspected they would be, but it's just bear with me. I'm just rushing through everything. We are reading from the article, Comments on Carcinogenic Solvents by the Center for Science and the Public Interest, March 2024. Petitions from the Environmental Defense Fund et al. To remove the solvents benzene, ethylene dichloride, methylene chloride, and trichloroethylene from food additive and color additive regulations. The Center for Science and the Public Interest is writing to express strong support for two petitions filed by Environmental Defense Fund et al. One requests that the FDA amend the food additive regulations to remove approvals for four solvents: benzene, ethylene dichloride, methylene chloride, and trichloroethylene, TCE. The other requests that FDA amend the color additive regulations to remove approval for three of these four solvents appearing in the color additive regulations: ethylene dichloride, methylene chloride, and TCE. And so that takes us to the end of the research that we had for today. Let me see, can I get those links back in that she was requesting? Here, I'm just going to post up just the link without the title. The link is entitled Artificial Sweeteners and Cancer. That's that one. And the other one is entitled A Chemical Found in Common Artificial Sweeteners May Cause DNA Damage. That should fit on there now on one line. And I'm going to post it over here while I'm at it. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. It has been exciting. I hope you find today's conversation useful. Not a whole lot of people were tuned in today, but I do personally think that the ones who did tune in represent the best that we have in our LIB family. So to each and every one of you who do tune in regularly, thank you for being loyal. I want to thank you also, because the ones I'm hearing from today, everyone who wrote notes today, I do recognize you contribute to LIB Radio. You have the books, you buy the books, you share this information, you help me spread the word. And I'm really grateful for that. We're doing the best we can to do the best we can to be an example to everyone of how we take care of ourselves. And just as a quick note, we did a program very recently, what was it? And I talked about the use of hyaluronic acid as a skin toner and refreshener. So I got my bottle of hyaluronic acid in the mail yesterday, and I took it last night around probably 7 or 8 o'clock. And I did drink it and a cup of green tea along with it. And I gotta admit, because it does function as a form of diuretic, and it hydrolyzes and moisturizes the skin from the inside out. I'm taking mine from the inside out. You can get hyaluronic acid to put on your skin from the outside in, but mine comes from the inside out. That's the way I believe in doing the healing. And last night I had to get up 3 times. I would wake up and go use the bathroom. 3 times, 2 times, and then I woke up and still had to go, but did my exercises anyway. So I suspect that it may be working as a diuretic, causing my body to be sensitive, my bladder to be sensitive to pressure. Now, that opens up a whole nother dialogue. So is anyone else out there using hyaluronic acid? Are you are you experiencing the same symptom? It's an ongoing experience. I was going to take 2 caps one day because the dosage that I got, the caps that I got, it's like right between the recommended dosage. So I'll take 2 one day, and then 1 the next day, and then 2, and then 1, and 2, and 1 for about 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then you take a pause. But is anybody else trying the hyaluronic acid? Did you experience the same symptom? I need to know this, because if it is, I'm just going to warn people, hey, if you don't like getting up in the middle of the night to go pee, this may not be for you. But I will say, I woke up this morning and I weighed myself as I do daily. Today, 10:29, I keep a record here, 29. My reps today were 150. My weight was 141.5. Yesterday was 1.2.0. The day before that, 142.6. The day before that, my weight was, I don't think I weighed myself that day, the 26th. But the day before that, my weight was 1.343.7. So my weight is consistently, since about a week ago, been going down 1/2 pound per day. I am eating as much as I want to eat. And my weight is going down. So it could be, since the hyaluronic acid, I just took it yesterday for the first time, it could be that might be responsible for the weight going down 1/2 pound, even though it had been going down 1/2 pound for the previous 3 or 4 days, 5 days or more. So all of that to say this, we're a living example of learning. I am learning what natural anti-aging substances I can take. Now, don't expect to look at me and see me looking younger from doing the hyaluronic acid from the inside out. It's probably going to take 2 weeks to 4 weeks before you start to see it. If I were doing it topically, you'd probably see it in less than 14 days. But if you want to live long and stay strong, if you want to mature gracefully, be like me and experiment on yourself. And this hopefully will help us all. And if you experiment on yourself, please do share your results with as many people as possible, including share your results with me. Basu Nefert Ra Seshat shared her research with me today, for which I am so wonderfully grateful. So on that note, I think we did get everything in. Tomorrow is Tech and Future Talk. I hope you tune in on our Thursday sessions. We've done 6 sessions so far on Thursdays, all about learning AI. And I'm hoping tomorrow's lesson, because right now I'm studying it, but it's a little bit complicated. It's more than a little bit complicated. It's a little complicated. It's quite a bit complicated. But I am learning AI filmmaking. So if you also want to join me in learning how to use AI to make those films, because I tell you, AI fake videos are ubiquitous. The commercials, the videos, we see them on social media all day long. It appears to me we're maybe seeing as much as 30 to 40% of the videos we are watching are AI generated. Now, when it comes to being on the front edge of technology, I want to be not in 30 to 40%. I want to be in the top 10%. If not, I want to be in the top 5%. Now, therefore, I want to learn, you want to learn, we want to learn how to do our own AI video and or film production. So that's what's on the table for tomorrow. And Friday, we will, of course, be talking about making money Fridays. And I think on Friday, the topic is, because I had it up on my desktop a little bit earlier, the topic is globalism and the US dollar impacting globalism. And I'm going to use the conversation from Eric Lee, who is a Chinese analyst. We're going to use his information on globalism, because I want to take the information from the ones who are winning. And as Trump administration is saber rattling, I almost said saddle rabering, is saber rattling regarding Venezuela and Colombia, we need to know what's going on in the background as China is rapidly ascending to become the world's global economic power. The United States is thrashing around. So that's Friday. We're going to be talking about globalism is far more dangerous than anyone realizes by Eric Lee, L.I. So you've now been warned. Thursday and Friday, you do want to tune into LIB Radio. Hey, listen, I'm out of here. I got to get ready for a meeting and on Zoom with my family. Also, I've just begun to announce the next book writing course. If you've ever thought about becoming an author, a written author, and you want to put your book out in ebook, print, paperback, hardcover, and you want to definitely have your book out, we're starting another class. It's going to begin in late December, right after Xmas. The book writing class is going to be 90 days to get your book written and published. 90 days, 9-0. That's a little over, 12 weeks to get your book out. 13-week course. I guarantee you, you will get all of the information necessary to get your book out. We're going to take it step by step. I'm going to show you how to write and publish the book. So we are going to have 2 free Zoom previews on the topic. The first Zoom preview is on November the 8th. Write that down. Put that on your schedule. Especially those of you who are listening today, because you are my brilliant audience. And if I can convince you to get in and become a book writer, a book author, then I am doing my work right. If I can inspire you, convince you. Now, I will be writing several books during the class time, not to show off, but this is now the routine that I have. I'm going to be doing the book writing class every so often. And then I come out with a whole series of books during that time. That 90 days, last time I put out 8 books. You've been tuned into LIB Radio, LIB TV, and Living in Black. You can get access to my books. Get my books at http://keidi.biz/CRP2012. I highly recommend at least take a look at my catalog. And if you see something you like, please do take advantage of them. It would be an honor for me to be informative, instructive, inspiring to each and every one of you as you continue to inform, instruct, and you continue to inspire me. I guarantee you this works real well for the both of us on your LIB Radio, LIB TV, livinginblack.com network.